Hi, YouTube. Excuse me. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing pretty good. My camera just froze on me for a second there. I seem a little delayed, but I'm sure it'll be okay. It's happened before. Oh, talk about happening before. Do you ever notice, and this is my topic, at least what's on the forefront of my mind right now, is people that can't control themselves want to control you. Just like, I'm not into politics like a lot of people. I used to be. Um, I have my reasons for not being political or religious in any manner, and I don't care who does what. But I'm going to use Trump as an example. Um, I could use anybody for this example. But here is what people refer to as a powerful man that has trouble controlling his self in certain areas in his life, but yet he wants to control you or I. I have a problem with that. I have self control. I don't look to other people for their approval or their like what I'm gonna be following the crowd, and so follow the leader. It just goes. I'm a lone wolf like that. I bought a plaque. It's beautiful. It's uh die cast uh wolf with a moon and a couple trees, and it's like a license plate, only it's like that thick, like over almost at least a half inch thick, and it's this engraved wolf, and it says Lone Wolf Club underneath it, because that's my nature. Do you know what? If you're running with a pack and you're a wolf, yeah, they run in packs to hunt together. They rely on each other. They have each other to fall back on and all that. Good stuff for them because they need the pack. There's youngings, and there's there's the females, and then they're about 9 months old and it's a male. Sometimes it will stay with the pack, but a lot of times these male wolves will go off, and occasionally a female, and they will become a lone wolf, not in need of that pack because they're strong, and they're usually very large and very ferocious compared to the other pack, part of that pack, and only interact with them in times of breeding. So that is my nature. Like I've had to be like that. I didn't have people to fall back on. If I had I mean, a lot of us are like that now, but in society we're always taught to find approval in other people's opinions of us. I can't do that. So anyway, just yeah. So I am feeling a little better, cutting ties with what I know somebody was trying to control me, and they can't even control themselves. Not even enough to be worthy of friendship. So, yeah, that's what's on my mind today. So, yeah, and I know a lot of you are going through similar things, personal things, might be parent, friend, brother, sister, whoever, you know. We have these people in our lives that Well, if you let what other people do cause a pressure on you, it's going to age you unnecessarily. You're going to end up with stress lines and wrinkles that you don't need, you know. Sure, I have a bad part. My face got punched and my teeth came out, my jaw broke, and but you can still age gracefully even if you've been physically mangled, whatever. Here's to true beauty, people. You don't need a face cream, you just need a good heart, you know. How many people really are worried about the next serum or makeup or piece of clothing or whatever it is to make them feel better about themselves, but who are they really on the inside? Yeah, we've examined this for decades now, but or some of us, you know, but really, like, I just gotta say it. How about these guys that are going gray in their beards and then, like, their hair is starting to go away or starting to gray or whatever, and then they'll put crap in their beards. And it's like these older women with all wrinkles, and then they dye their hair. It's like, or put cream on their face. You just get lots of bottles of that stuff and put it in your tub and jump in it. And maybe when you're done, you'll feel refreshed or something. I don't know. My point is, what are you going to do with the rest of you? And you can see, like, middle-aged people when they've abused themselves thoroughly, they look pretty horrible. It isn't necessarily from hard work or um, thinking too much. Probably not. Yeah. Yeah, some of them don't think enough. So I have to be careful with, well, it's not a matter of being oversensitive or overly emotional or any of that. It's learning when it's appropriate to interact and when it's not, and who's worth your time and who isn't, especially for young people. I mean, um, making a decision on friendships and that, you know, is it better to be a little bit lonely or in the wrong company? I'd say it's probably better to be a little bit lonely and be very selective in your friendships because you can't buy your time back. At least you know when you're doing something by yourself, you know, you're not wasting your time. Somebody isn't a time bandit, and that I've ran across a lot. People trying to just stop me from speaking by maybe um trying to make a video that they expect me to watch or something. Um that really isn't of a benefit to me in any way. It's not even entertaining. It's like, no, what a waste of time for even for other people, you know? I'm sure you know some of them what I'm talking about. You'd like to be able to patronize a person if you saw something friendly in them. You'd like to be able to find value in what they're sharing with you, but it isn't a benefit to anybody else, not even themselves. It's a waste of time, you know. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling. So yeah. Um, did you know that in this is off topic completely. 1938, the let's see, it was Hopi Indians went to the United Nations. They had 15 minutes to talk with an interpreter for English and the American language, and um, these monsters wouldn't even let the elders speak at this get together. What they wanted them there for was to sign over water and mineral rights to their land. Well, somebody on Doug's got a group called Patriots Unite on Facebook, and some smartass wrote there, "Nobody owns the land." I said, "Oh, I own my land. Try coming on it, you know." And I do have no trespassing signs, so if really you're not welcome here, I can prosecute you. So I don't own my land. Then also, I didn't say all that, but I just said simply, "Oh, can you claim squatters' rights?" That says it all right there. Although natives can do that anywhere, but you can too. Did you know that? Yeah, you can. It doesn't even have to be which this place is homesteaded, meaning my taxes are lower than a lot of other people's because when you know the legalities of land development or whatever, those types of things will help you out on lowering your taxes. You know, people say, well, you pay taxes on it. Yeah. And that money goes to schools and roads and other community services, that type of thing, So, oh, speaking of community, I didn't make the connection because they had changed the name of this Catholic girls' school, and I guess there was boys there too in the 70s, but in the 50s and 60s when I was growing up, there was this church and school, and it was called Mary Margaret Benedictine or something, and they just changed it to St. Mary's, and there's Dr. Alman Hillman that had taught at that school when he was called St. Mary's. That was long after I moved, but I just thought it was really ironic that they messed with him. And I mean, I lived my grandpa's land connected to, oh, it was St. Margaret's. Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, just what he went through is unbelievable. But what I went through there was also unbelievable. I used to go in the school and the church because, the doors would be open, like, to the church and whatever. And I also made a friend out of Sister Margaret. They called her um, Mary Margaret, I think. Well, anyway, uh, I had found this beautiful yellow lab dog, and I couldn't find a home for it. And these sisters at the nunnery sometimes would save like bones and that different stuff for my dog, just for treats because I'd be walking it, and this one lady called me over there just to pet my dog. And so when I had this dog and I didn't know what else to do with it, I went up there and I asked her if she wanted a dog. And she did. She had to ask the priest or, the head poobah there. And they ended up taking that dog. They got her a dog house. They called her Maggie. And she was right outside the back door of the nunnery, really close to where I live. So, like on my way to school and stuff, I could stop her home on the way home and pet that dog. That's a cool story, huh? I'll tell you something spooky though. One time it seemed like nobody was around, and I did this more than once. But I went into the Catholic church and I was walking around. This is a pretty good sized place, the whole thing connected. And I think somebody saw me. I don't know if they were following me or what it was. It was just really spooky because it seemed like the whole place was abandoned, like there was no life in it. Just the feeling of the place. Um, it was weird, really weird. I don't know if it was on a weekend or a weekday. I can't remember, but I don't know. That whole thing, the whole area was spooky to me because in between, well, my grandpa's land had some wooded land on it right before you got to their open field. And then on the other side, there was this big company called the Shell Oil Company, and they also have mass quantities of land, and there were parks and different things around there. So, like when I was growing up, I could take my snowmobile out on some of that area and just run it, just be able to just fly across the snow. But I'll tell you really quick about this spooky thing that happened. I was on my way home from school. There's people that had died in those woods too. Not far from there, they found like a man and a woman. They were naked and murdered in a park. Whether or not they had been having relations and got murdered, I don't know. But I used to play in these areas, but one time there was a dude with fatigues on, and I might have been about 11 or so, and he was following me through these woods. So I got to a part where there was some brambles and some sumac bushes and started crawling through them till I got to the edge of where it was an open field. Then I was able to run home, but it was spooky. This dude was looking at me. It was weird, really weird. I got chased around the city too, inside stores and by people in cars and different things. That happened to me down in Phoenix too. There's a song I remember, can't remember what one it was, but something about a dude in a white van. That's what this was. My friend Becky and I would go up to the corner to get cigarettes or whatever. And this dude kept on following us. Well, first he was following her, and then he found out where I lived too, and then both of us were being followed until one night um we made a plan to kind of sneak up on him, and we did find him sitting in his van. We didn't get too close, but it was weird. I don't know what he was trying to do, or we might have instinctively, but it was really weird. Yeah. Anyway, a lot of my experience in Arizona was like surreal. It was like a nightmare. a lot of my life was, you know. So, anyway, just super important for me not to follow the crowd, no matter what everybody's doing or the appeal of it or whatever. I'm really, really leery of that type of attitude with people. You know, reminds me of what was it, Jonestown and Jimmy Jones that had like that cult leader that had everybody drink all the Kool-Aid, you know? Yeah. So, so yeah, I'm not going to be following any crowds. And that goes for friendships too. I mean, being seclusive and my expectations out of people might like not be, you know, like if you make a post on Facebook and you might just be thinking of one person that you're sending it through for, why, while other people are more concerned about how many likes they're going to get on their posts, it's just the difference in attitudes going through your life, and so yeah, anyway. So yeah, like I say, I'm feeling better. Um, I am not having to worry about somebody that I thought was my friend that did really hurt my feelings, in more ways than one. And that's not being overly sensitive. That's having integrity and self-respect. And when I have that invaded by somebody with lacks integrity in different ways, that can be painful, you know. So even under the guise of Christianity or this group or that group, I'm not going to be following the crowd. I mean, I never have. And I mean, like somebody would say something out of the scriptures, and I used to write 2, 3 paragraphs on the true meaning of a word. I'd go get the definition of a word for these people, wasting my time because they were set in their ways. They knew what they were doing right from the beginning. So it's like, okay. And I've come to peace with the fact that not everybody is meant to be in the same, like the saying, uh, there's many mansions, you know, or different parts to my father's house. I don't need to be somebody's neighbor in order to feel like I'm part of the human race. It's like, nah, you're good over there. Well, I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm just, who's more self-centered? Somebody that's going to be totally transparent and honest, or somebody that has an agenda and will do a set of rules, and swear that you're going to go to hell if you don't obey every set rule. You know, I'm not talking about the Ten Commandments or the seven deadly sins that are a good rule of thumb to live by. I mean, we all know thou shalt not kill, those little things that make total sense. That's okay. But those laws were given to people that were unlawful, not the ones that are. Those aren't. Those threats aren't for you or I. You don't need to be threatened to have a conscience. You just have one. You know, that's the difference. So, got people out there professing that they want to have a church someday and then telling you their acceptance of pornography. I'm not saying nudity and I'm not saying art. I'm saying pornography. There's a big difference. Like I said before, if you see two statues that are like marble statues carved of people's bodies, I mean, it's still more graceful with clothing on, but still with that artwork, I could see. But they're not bending each other over and doing things. That's pornography. And there's a big difference in it. I think it's entirely sad that we've got a culture in a world that is so accepting of porn. I mean, that's it's gross. Don't you have any real memories or any thoughts of your own within your own imagination that you don't have to use somebody else's physical being to get off? That gives me the creeps. When I found out people were creepy with me, I get rid of them, you know? I ran across this, I think she's a Catholic girl. Um, Her name's Tracy. She was a part of, I think, the Greek classes on Lady Babylon or whatever it was. But I wonder if she got turned on by Almond. I wonder if she took that before our Father, or did she just handle that on her own, if you get my meaning? You know, if you have somebody spark desires in you, do you take that before God, or do you deal with that on your own? You know, there is a safe harbor for men or women, you know, there really is. You can protect yourself. I'm not saying you're not human and human beings don't have desires, but where's your self control? And what do you do with that? How do you handle that? It's integrity. What if you were um, pleasuring yourself and the whole world was able to view that? Wouldn't that be a trip? Would you want to be masturbating with somebody else's body if that were possible on this world? That the whole world would be viewing your every action. I would think that would make a difference how we approach any given situation. That personally, that's, you know, anyway. Well, I'm not going to be making a turkey tomorrow or ham or anything like that. I might next week. I have turkey in the freezer, but I'm going to make not hot wings, but I have boneless thighs, chicken thighs, and I'm going to turn it into buffalo chicken with salad and Brussels sprouts I got from the Amish. So that's what we're going to be having. I might make a cake. Maybe. I'm thinking about it because I got a new cake pan. Maybe I might. Mm. Second thought, I might make brownies. One of the two. And I got this big cookie sheet, and Doug's like, "Well, there's a brownie pan." I said, "No, that's for cookies," or, you know. But anyway. Oh, that reminds me, I have a pumpkin. I'm going to bake it first, a whole pumpkin, and then I'm going to scoop the guts out of it and take the flesh and put it in the freezer for homemade pumpkin pies somewhere down the line here. I think I got everything I need to make that. Um, Maybe I might have to get some allspice and clove. I've got cinnamon or just some pumpkin pie spice or whatever. But yeah, I just thought of that because I have a squash I have to cook too. I might do that tomorrow since I have the oven on for the chicken, maybe, and just get that done. So, yeah, I'm not going to make the pies right away, but one of these days, because you can't buy a good pumpkin pie or a apple pie, if you've noticed. I don't know. I've noticed that. It's just like I love lemon meringue pie, but I'd rather make one than buy one because they're just not as good. When I have a lemon meringue pie, I want it to really be lemony. The same with a pumpkin pie. I want it to have lots of, I'm not one of these who likes like pumpkin spice lattes or any of that. I only like it in a pumpkin pie, so, and I don't really like apple pie all that much unless I make it, you know. I used to make a lot of like banana cream and coconut cream pies, and then my dad liked both of them, and so does Doug. So I started making banana um, coconut cream pies mixed. They're good together. I ran across somebody that had a recipe, and it's like, yeah, I've done that. They're good. My favorite pie? No, I'm talking pies, yeah. Is there's a pie place called Poppin' Fresh in Minneapolis, and they make a raisin pie that has like lemon in it and raisins and sour cream and whipped cream and just it's so good. So good. I'm, you know, not big on like a plain raisin pie. No, this is way different. It's hard to describe, but it's so good. They make these pies and they're like that thick. Or let me see, can I fit it in there? I don't know that I can. They're they're like 6 inches thick and more than half of it's filling, it's like just so good. If you've ever had a raisin pie like that with the whipped and sour cream and oh, really, really good. Yum. And I like French silk pies, the chocolate ones. Those are good. So, I remember one time, I'll tell you this story really quick. I was down in Minneapolis and was going to treat myself to a piece of French silk pie from this place called Brothers. They had two things that was incredible. They had this deli and then their restaurant. It was on 7th and Hennepin, if any of you are familiar with that city. But so it's across from the Ritz. And so I went in there, and I used to go in there, I'd get dill pickles because they were um, so good, just delicious for a snack. And I went in there and I asked for a French silk pie, and they're asked anything else, and I'm like, no. And I don't know, it was just one of the first times in my life that I felt so peaceful. It's like one of the, even before that, I had taken time and I'd go to movies, even double feature matinees, and just be by myself, you know. So I'm kind of used to it. I'm used to going the way of the loner than I am more the way of the crowd. So if I'm not accepted in a group or a crowd, I'm not really going to shed any tears over it. I'll be just like, well, nothing new, you know. I'm just looking for people that consider themselves part of my tribe like that, like that type of feeling within people that you'd rather go your own way than follow the crowd, no matter what the consequences, you know? So, okay, well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I do appreciate you joining me, and if you've had to cut any ties with people, and it could be even a temporary thing in some cases. And hopefully, if it's with family and you feel like you need that type of separation in your life, hopefully it isn't a permanent thing, but sometimes it's necessary in order for you to function with a happy heart without the added stress that a lot of people that want to control you or they can't even control themselves. So don't allow it, you know. Okay, everybody, I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.